that one. Go, go, gadget, go. There we go. Team YouTube's back up and running. Still not using the previous PC for streaming coding then? No. No. I really should. I really should. Right. Okay. I think we can get rid of that right now. Right, let's try again. Let's try again. Chalina, thank you very much for the resub, by the way. I don't think it was your resub that killed the stream. Now let's check that everything before I load up 500 accounts. Have we got graphic settings on? Yeah, there we go. Graphic settings on low. Flipping no idea why this has to be a thing, but the reality is when you try and flipping have 5 copies of the game open and stream at the same time, it's not surprising we have some tech issues occasionally. I just think I didn't get very lucky with the silicon lottery with my graphics card, but I can't convincingly prove that it's my graphics card that's really at fault. Means trying to RMA it, it's probably not happening. We'll just wait till the 60 series comes out and we'll swap it for something else. Right. Where did we get to? Third. As for Expedition 33's length, the main story is about 30 hours. There is some side content, given your affinity for squirrels. Is it on Game Pass? Is it on Game Pass? It feels like one of those games that's on Game Pass. Oh, it is. Well, that game that makes it all the more viable. Oh, there we go. 29 hours main story, 45 if you do squirrels, 67 for completionism. Not bad, is it? Bang that out in a week. We will consider. Right, what was I doing with these? I just need to list stuff now. Right, technical issues cause calls for a monster. Ooh, there's not much in my fridge, which means it makes everything very cold. Oh. Bill scan in. Let's get this lot posted then. I've literally just drunk a massive coffee. I probably shouldn't be chasing it with a monster, but Sun's out. How far have we got through this decor? Oh, okay, we've got loads of room. Start filling that back up then. If we've got the 5 accounts up and running, they should all be doing something. At some point, caffeine immunity kicks in. Yeah, I know. Caffeine doesn't really have a big effect on me either way. Like, it doesn't particularly wake me up if I'm tired, nor does it keep me awake if I am. It just kind of, I don't know. Maybe I've, over the years, just consumed way too much of the damn stuff. Doesn't really have anywhere near as much of an effect on me. That's what you think until you stop drinking it. Maybe. I've never stopped, though. Genuinely never stopped. Whether it be Coca-Cola or energy drinks or coffee, at some point in my life, I've always consumed large quantities of all of it, so. Not particularly healthy, but what are you going to do? Developed a system to keep me alive thanks to my 2 daughters. If we run out of coffee, we're fucked. Yep. I must admit, I don't feel as if I consume coffee in the morning because it's the caffeine that I need. It's just the hot, warm beverage seems to wake my system up. I used to have a really nice bean to cup machine that did me some nice coffees. But cleaning the damn thing and maintenance on it, well, let's just put it this way: it lived its life. It was replaced with a filter coffee machine, and whilst my coffee machine is absolutely wonderful, I do heavily miss a fancy coffee machine. I really do. Now, in the not too distant future, I might have a 40th birthday, and I might request a nice fancy coffee machine. I don't want birthday gifts ever. But when I eventually hit 40, I think that's cause for putting in a request. That request might be a nice coffee machine again. Those bags are nearly empty. Let's let this refill first before I try and tell the other accounts to do the same. With the maintenance team. Yeah. Does this coffee machine come with free maintenance? Come on, last few items. Last few. Hurry the fuck up now. British drink tea. I've never been a tea drinker. I just never have. That said, there was never really anybody in my family that was a big tea drinker either, which is probably why I also then never really. To be fair, I didn't even really start drinking coffee till I was in my early 20s. I was at one point working for, should we say, a large electronics company. In one of their largest stores, and it was the fact that they had what they referred to as a live kitchen. So all of the fancy ass coffee machines were all hooked up, working, and that gave me a bit of an affinity for fancy coffee. But prior to that, not really so much. Choice of coffee is what got him exiled. No. No. Unfortunately, my affinity to Nordic blondes was probably what got me exiled. If we're going to be real. What do we sell here? Rain Eye Weaver's loom, a few bits and bobs. Cover story, sure. I don't even check what we sell if it's less than 10k these days. That just falls into the category of bits and bobs. Let's restock everything. This process has taken me a little bit longer than I expected it to, but I'm taking it steadily. Also, the guild bank is flipping slow compared to the war bank, so. Right, you're finished. You're finished. Okay. Funny thing, by the way, I'm doing a paper on the British welfare system. I mean, I can summarize that in 2 words for you. Total shit. I was fortunate that I myself never had to really take much advantage of it in the UK. I never had to claim any sort of unemployment or anything in the UK. So I don't have that many dealings with it from a personal experience. Although I know firsthand that at least when I was growing up and my mum relied on it quite a lot, it was less than, less than what it could have been. NHS, on the other hand, is one of the world's most magical things, and they should pump as much money into that as they possibly can, because that's literally, I mean, it is quite literally a lifesaver. And if only Starbucks would pay its fucking taxes, then maybe maybe it could have more money pumped into it. interesting that the unemployment system makes people sicker and increases suicide rates, but also kind of fucked up. They get sick until they move from unemployment to disability to universal. Yeah, it's certainly not geared up well enough. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say pretty much most countries where there is a welfare system in place, there is never really what's considered enough money ever spent on it, but it is kind of one of those catch-22 situations, I think, that when is there enough money for that sort of system? It depends just how far you want a system like that to push society. Should it be used as something that, you know, does the bare minimum to keep people alive, but still requires people to put the effort in to, like, crawl out of the hole that they're in? It's difficult because there are some people that will never crawl out of that hole themselves. So yeah, it's a tough one. If you find a good answer, though, let people know. Somebody inheriting a small-ish sum of money might endanger a disability grant. See if she's any less disabled just because her spouse got a few £1,000s. I mean, it's that, like I said, that's the same anywhere. Like, a welfare system in most countries, I think, will very, very heavily track any sort of income you have. And this is partly, as crazy as it sounds, this is partly why a lot of young couples don't get married anymore, because soon as you are married, you legally become one, and then that means that it's sometimes more beneficial to not be combined at the hip. As crazy as that sounds. But the best thing people can do is try their hardest to not get stuck in that hole in the first place. Relying on a welfare system, that is, not marriage. Let's be clear. Let's clarify that. I'm happily married. It's alright, the wife's not listening. The move to cashless is also great for tracking. Yeah, true. Yeah. Paper trail for everything these days. Selling odds and ends. Nothing particularly special on these realms. Give them all an opportunity to grab some stock. Watch it disappear. I measured it, took me almost 3 hours to repost everything across all my realms, getting kind of tired. 3 hours, that's a long time. You just do it on one account though, don't you? That's still a long time to repost everything though. How much stuff are you listing on every realm for it to take that? You must be hitting like you must be hitting a post throttle, which is probably what's heavily slowing you down if that's the case. Bring on the UBI world. It is, see, that's another one of those touchy subjects, isn't it? I both agree with the concept of universal basic income, I agree with it conceptually, but I also have concerns that in practice it might not actually do what it's designed to do. In terms of, like I said, whilst I, yes, do genuinely believe that it's your government and your country's leaders' responsibility to keep you alive, I also think it's your responsibility to go out and get the things in life that you want. It's far, 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 far too easy these days for people to half assume that they should just be given everything. It doesn't work like that. Why is Germany calling me? I don't know anybody in Germany. No, we are not answering that. Numbers show that more people than ever have turned NEETs. People who in no shape, way or form engage in the economical system at all. One reason being is that the welfare system is so hard to navigate and such a long process that they're likely unable to do it. Same goes with the disability portion of universal credit. You need to be healthy to start because the system makes you sick. Yeah, it's kind of wild, isn't it? It's kind of wild. Right now in my city, you need about 140% of the salary to be able to rent a house. Yeah, I mean, I'm not exactly in the best position to have many views or opinions on this because I'm fortunate enough that I got on the property ladder early enough in life. I've not had to wrestle with the rental market basically ever. Outside of my very early 20s. But it's I understand it's kind of wild. And I don't envy people that are trying to work their way up on that one. Right, that's all that lot posted. Move that lot to the bank. Put anything that doesn't get listed on the realms back in the bank for somebody else to have a go with. Found a nice little add-on that also Warband Miser is a really, really good add-on for keeping a fixed amount of gold on each of your characters, but it doesn't work with the guild bank. But I found another little add-on that does work with the guild bank. So now every time, or now I can keep a much better control of the gold that are on these characters, which is kind of cool. The coherence between income and cost of living has broken in a way that's not possible to recover. I don't know where the fault lies with any of this. But, you know, it's clearly not just single factor. Over a period of roughly 30 years, it's gone from people needing one income. Yeah, it's taken, how do I phrase this right? It's gone from being that one single income can support a family to a position where 2 full-time incomes can barely cover themselves, never mind a family. So I don't quite know where the problem has occurred, but we need to go back closer to a point where a single income should be able to support a family. Sure, population has grown in 30 years, but not by an amount that justifies the cost of living that's come with it. I think the privatization of basic necessities is a big problem. But like I said, I'm not super educated in any of this. Like, you can ask me anything you want to know about the economy in World of Warcraft. The economy outside of World of Warcraft, I'm not very educated on. I might have some opinions, but they might not be well-read opinions. Partly in using GDP growth as the leading metric for measuring the health of an economy instead of its median income, wealth disparity is getting more extreme across the world. Yeah, GDP growth is not a great metric for anybody outside of the business world, is it really? That's the problem. But yeah, in principle, it sounds, it's great. Oh, look, the line goes up, therefore good, right? Not always the case. The average rent in my city is around €1,400 for a 2-bedroom flat, while in my city the average income is around 1,200. Yeah, math just ain't math in there, is it? Math just ain't math in. I mean, I only know this really from a UK perspective. I know I've lived in Finland for flipping. I mean, it's probably the case everywhere, but nobody really who was for the longest of time, and probably still to this day, nobody who works in London can really afford to live in London. Hence why most people work in London, but then will live in the suburbs or commute into London to be able to afford to do it. The only people that can afford to live in the city are the people that own the businesses in the city in the first place, sort of thing. That sort of, what I would consider an extreme example is no longer really that extreme. It seems to be more common basically everywhere. Like I said, I kind of feel slightly awkward talking about all of this because a lot of it doesn't directly, affect me. I'm the guy that sits and plays video games for a living. Like, I'm not in a position to have strong opinions on this. It's an odd way to measure the health of an economy because it doesn't really say anything about the people of that said country, only what the companies within said country are doing. Oh, the GD, yeah. Yeah, basing the health of your economy based on just the business half of it is just poor use of data, really. Poor data analysis. Doesn't really affect me either, but I can have opinions on it. No, I just, I want to be be forthcoming with the understanding that, like, quite a lot of this I can have an opinion on, but people shouldn't take my opinion on it too seriously. It's like I use the example in World of Warcraft. Like, if I had strong opinions on the meta in arenas in threes, like, my opinion has very little weight. That's what I'm trying to get across here. Disclaimer: Matthews has very little knowledge on these things. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Could you repeat the name of the add-on that keeps the set amount of gold on all the characters? Well, there's Warband Miser. Is a good one if you just use a single account. I think it's called Warbank Tools, the one I use, that also can do the same with the Guild Bank. Moved to my current house 2020. 133 meters for 400k. The same house now goes for 550. Yeah, the rise in everything's kind of wild. Want to sell a house, you pay taxes. Do you want to buy one, you pay more taxes. You die, you pay taxes. You get inheritance, you pay a lot of taxes. Give your son 3,000 euros, you have to pay taxes. Sell something on Temu or Etsy, guess what? Taxes. I have quite mostly moved to the more Nordic opinion on taxes over the years, of that I genuinely have absolutely no concern paying my taxes. Like, in fact, I've got no problem with paying my tax, but it's on the basis of that I can see where they go and I see that they add value. I think the negativity towards taxes in a lot of places is based on the fact that people feel they're too high and they don't feel they get any value from them, which is a problem. Even though I know that in Finland, the taxes I pay doesn't directly come back to benefit me particularly all that much. I can see where they go and I can see how they're useful. You know, healthcare is pretty damn good here. Education is free. I mean, you can't beat free, really, can you? You know, it's... I know that if I ever got ill, I would be looked after. I know that if we were to have kids, they would also be very well looked after, which is, you know, in my opinion, where tax dollars should go. It's where you see scenario. I mean, this is where the UK is in a real. The UK has a real problem with this because the indication seems to be that they just want more and more taxes off you all the time. Yet, if there was even the slightest feeling that those taxes were going to increase the quality of everybody's lives, I don't think people would have any issue with them whatsoever. The only real problem kicks in when taxes seem to go up, but quality of life seems to go down. That's there's a conflict of interest there, isn't there? That's where people get a bit, salty about the whole situation, quite rightly so. Finland and Sweden are really similar from this types of perspectives. Really grateful for living in Sweden. Yeah, I think it's like I said, when you can see where the money goes and you believe it has value, when you believe it's doing what you hope and expect it to do. Aha, that's why these are not getting particularly replenished, because there's nothing in them. Oh, I might have nearly found a home for all this decor now. We're down to not much left. In fact, we're down to nearly nothing left. This is very good. I have a retired grandma. I say to myself that the taxes I pay go directly to her. Yeah, it works in two directions, doesn't it? Your tax dollars go upwards to support the generation before you who are now retired, and they also go the other direction. They go downwards to help the kids of the next generation. I think there's this is where I think there's a bit of a disconnect in terms of that people kind of want to feel as if the taxes they pay today come back to them directly, almost, instantly, which is never how taxes really work. At least not for the most part. If you can at least see that because you have to go your first 20 years you don't pay any taxes. The first 20 years of your life you are in theory consuming, and arguably the last 20 years of your life you're also consuming, but the bit in the middle where you work and you pay all your taxes are going in those two directions. Maybe not directly for you, but either your previous or your next generation. But this is all good and well as long as you feel that your standard of living is being met accordingly. So I fully get the perspective of people that feel that it's all far too much for not enough return. I had a professor with a lecture from the UK the other day where I asked, where does all the tax money go on the stuff they save? He responded with, and I shit you not, I have no idea. That's exactly what you want to hear, isn't it? Exactly what you want to hear. I have no idea. Welcome in, Crazy Bear. How are we doing? Welcome, welcome. Right, I'm quite impressed that I managed to find a home for all of that decor quite quickly. This means I can probably, from this point on, quick fire through a lot more of these characters just to get the auctions listed, so that this doesn't take all day. Yeah, very, very, very little left in here now. Bit of gold in there, we can take that out later. Let's see if I can quick fire through these a bit more by rearranging. Makes it a bit easier to see what we're doing. No longer a goal maker, primarily a lumberjack. Hey, it's good living, I heard. The old lumberjackery. Does work, and I don't think it's going anywhere. The decor in your house. One day we might actually build our house, you're right. One day. One day. What is this mountain goat doing? What is this mountain goat doing? This is why my sofa is always fluffy. Come on, lambs. What are you doing? Hi. 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 Good girl. Good girl. Flops next to the bed. There's nobody in the bed. Flops next to the bed. She's happy. Yo, 69 giggity. Resonant Echo sale for 60k. Don't mind if I do. Get those pet sales in. Looking for Salah? Well, maybe, yeah. Yeah, he's about 1,200 miles away. He comes home next week. Remember my little lumber project to get 2k lumber of all the expansions before midnight launched? I'm now under 1k lumber. Have you crafted and sold all of that then? I mean, to have burnt through that much already goes to show. Yeah, the market is still there. And just think about how much of the rest of the market probably has dried up, because you, without question, had significantly more in the bank lumber-wise than 99% of people. Even, you know, farmers themselves. I've only allocated the knowledge points that have given me decor. Almost all the crafters have 50 plus knowledge points sat there. I mean, it's a good market, genuinely. Like I was saying way before midnight even launched that, yeah, there'll be a big hype phase at the beginning of the expansion with all of, you know, everything being new and shiny and whatever. But the long play is the decor market. Might not be the most lucrative use of your time today. But, you know, as midnight, if you take midnight as a whole expansion, let's assume midnight is about, you know, if we assume there's 15 months of midnight left, in the next 15 months, decor will be relatively consistent. Where the days of 100k herbing and mining are probably done now, aren't they? Mm. 500 to 750k in Decor every day, only on a single realm. I mean, that's wild. This is what I think people needed to get prepped and get understood. That when Decor first launched was the time to make sure you'd got all your professions sorted, that you'd learnt all of the recipes, that you kind of got the farming routes down. And yeah, the fact that you can bang that out, that's pretty good. Did I sell a Reigns of Poseidon? Okay. And the thing with farming Decor as well is it's kind of like, in some regards, it's even more chill than herbing and mining. Because you're literally just flying around, picking up you're just looking for one icon on the map, and you just fly to each one, and you just kind of, chip away at it. Far less of a requirement to like min max your route and optimize your consumables. Look at how sweaty the meta for herbing and mining has been in Midnight. Correct allocation of knowledge points. Do you have the correct tools? Have you been doing your dun-duns to get your epic gathering tools every week? Have you got the 5 points in the overload node so that you spawn more little dudes that then all drop more materials? Like, are you ignoring Tranquility Bloom because it's not worth you picking up? Have you got the right flipping? Have you got the weapon stones on your tools? Have you got this flask? Have you got that? Like, it's all flipping outrageous amount of brain capacity just to go pick up herbs and ore. Where your alternative is, okay, sure, you might not make 80k gold an hour, but you might only make 50. But you can just fly around on a druid in a zone of the game, completely uncontested, and you just whack trees. Like, it's dead easy. By the time you've picked up 250 of the lumber, you can do it on any class you like because you can do it whilst mounted. It's just GG. Feel like lumbering needs tools and something else. Boring and slow. I mean, I think there is need for that. I genuinely do. I genuinely think there is need for that super low barrier to entry, highly like I think there needs to be some of that. I agree that herbing and mining is, in that regard, more engaging these days from a gameplay perspective, but for that just pure zone out, don't have to think too hard about it. I like the fact that lumber does that. I've sort of over the years more categorized goal making activities into like, high impact and low impact stuff. Mass crafting and having to keep an eye on the material market 7 days a week and getting all of your treasures and your knowledge points and all of this sort of stuff is kind of high impact goal making, where it takes a lot of brain capacity to do, but the potential rewards are really high from doing it. Then you got your low impact stuff, which is, you know, your more methodical, just generalized farming and stuff. And I think there needs to be something like scraping the barrel, and I think that's what lumber is. I think it serves a purpose being very simple and very easy. I enjoy the lumbering, can do it for a couple of hours a day, then spend the rest of the time actually playing the game. Now competition seems to be disappearing. I'm pretty sure the amount of people out there farming lumber is, you could probably count it on, you know, one hand, I reckon, on most realms. Deforesting Azeroth. That's a good guild name. It's funny in a video game. How do you know what decor to flip, or do you just get everything? I basically buy based upon regional sale average price, so I just buy anything if it's cheap enough. I have no doubt that I will sell it to somebody at some point. I'm also not really concerned whether it takes me a day, 30 days, or 2 years to sell something either. I genuinely don't care. So with that mindset, yeah, I just buy anything when it's cheap enough. As far as decor is concerned, you know, decor's 2 minutes old. Like, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. I love WoW's housing system, but I hate how they dealt with getting the decor. Way too much of it is too expensive to get multiples of. I think that's a process that they'll ease up on a little bit eventually. Blizzard always has this kind of like innate fear of people completing it too quickly. So they put these sort of like, you know, they put these things in place to slow people down. But eventually they sort of like, you know, they will lift the restrictions on it a little bit. But it's also one of those where when you start from zero, it is going, you know, it is going to be time consuming to build it up. You know, if you start with a blank canvas and you want to build a house with all of the stuff, you have a shopping list of 500 items that you want. If it only takes you a minute to go and get each one of those, it still adds up to a humongous amount of time, doesn't it? But I guess the logic is that if player housing is here to stick about, there'll come a point where you've basically built your house and all you're doing is collecting the things to, like, you know, just sort of like change things about or add an extra room on or something like that, rather than just like starting from zero again. So the time sync aspect of it, going and getting the stuff, will be very front loaded, I guess. But I do think they could definitely. I it's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. If they add a quality of life system in place so that once you've acquired a pattern per se, that you get a quicker and easier way to then buy the multiples of it. I think something like that will be kind of necessary. The fact that if you buy one lamp from a vendor and then you want to put another lamp, you have to trawl your ass all the way back to that vendor to buy a second lamp is something that they could probably do better with. At the end of the day, that's your incentive to just buy 2 in the first place. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see Decor be like Transmog, where you get an appearance and then you can place that thing down as many times as you like. I kind of like the fact that the Decor system is, tangible items. If you want 5 chairs, you need to buy or acquire or craft 5 chairs. You don't just unlock that chair's appearance. I don't want it to be a new transmog system. I think it has more long-term value if each item is kind of like, you got to work for it. Plus, it gives me the ability to sell multiple copies of things. So, once again, hashtag slightly biased here. As a thrift store making its appearance. And that literally is the auction house, right? Although you can't, that's true. You can only buy new. You can't resell, I suppose. Right, I'm almost at the point now where I don't really need to engage with the war bank or the guild bank much at all here. There's basically nothing left in it. Now it's just being used to shuffle a few sticky bits of stock around. The 20k, a lovely duckling. Icky. Pets are doing alright today. A few pet sales dotted about. Is there actually anything in this? Yeah, there's like basically nothing in this anymore. I still have these occasional random realms that have almost nothing on them, and I can't really work out why that is. It's probably got something to do with the population of the realms. My character list isn't in, like, perfect population order. Yasondra, that's a French realm, I think? Maybe it's one of the bigger French realms. Maybe why I end up with very little on it. Loon, I think, is another one, isn't it? Big French realm. kind of hardly seems worth posting like 10 items on a single realm. That's the problem. Loon is only medium pop. Is it? I can't, like I said, there's so many of them now. Can't necessarily remember all of them. I should use the notes thing in Goblin Toolbox to just like put like the population of the realm or something. People don't like the look of the decor. Most of my crafters sell 30 to 75k per day, but the leatherworking decor, I'm excited if I sell one piece for 5 to 10k. That's interesting. I'm going to be honest, I've paid very little actual attention to what half of the decor looks like. But some good insight if leatherworking particularly is not a fan favourite. Might need to do a restock on the profession gear soon as well. I seem to have very little stock of that lying around on these realms also. Might be worth dropping a few mil on crafting some other stuff. Although, like what was mentioned earlier, with the price of mats starting to be in decline, it starts to be a little bit risky stocking up on too much crafted stuff. Because crafted stuff is rarely super high margin in the first place. I usually just use it for like, you know, low margin revenue. So here. Barrel. Oh, a Hanzo sword. Sold a Hanzo sword for 7,000 gold. That seems remarkably cheap. We're on Argent Dawn or something. That seems excessively cheap. A named piece of transmog. Negative margins on everything this expansion. Do the full chain, have the best gear, have the best race, use the plus skill items to lower the cost, get a 2% return. Well, they took too much away. They took too much away without adding enough in its place. Kind of meant that it was, it was mass crafting in Midnight was a solved game before the game even launched. People have had 2 expansions worth of practice at it. So when they present a solution that's easier and has less variables, it's not really that surprising that margins got crunched to low single digits very, very, very quickly for most things. It happened so fast, I very quickly decided that I didn't really want to, be much of a part of it. I'll make my gold in other ways. You just gotta get those mats cheaper than the next man. That's where your angle is these days. He who gets his materials cheapest wins. It's as simple as. You're buying your materials on the same day you're crafting, you're probably losing. You'll lose out against somebody that bought their mats 2 days ago for a fraction of the price. Is the way I've seen it play out. Still very profitable if you get it right, though. That's the thing. This is why mass crafting attracts so many people. It's high risk, high reward these days. It didn't always used to be that way. It used to be that crafting was one of those things that your barrier to entry was having gold in the first place. That you could set the professions up when there wasn't that many other people that did or bothered. Nowadays though, the people that want to have the gold to get stuff set up nice and quick, and makes the competition very strong. That's why I'm telling you, Decor's the market for Midnight. 60 to 150 gold Patreon tips really add up when you have many alts. I realize I have 5k on each of my alts, and I have a lot of them. I mean, yeah, well, it will do. All of the lots of little numbers do always add up to big numbers. I mean, that's kind of the concept of concentration crafting, really, isn't it? That you're never making tens of thousands of gold, really, on each crafter, but when you have lots of crafters and you're consistent with it, it all does start to add up. But this is why you have to kind of optimize your time spent on it, because otherwise you just end up spending 3 times more time on it than it is actually worth still. You got to be careful that way. Everything's way cheaper than it was in the War Within. I was happy with 10% margins when the price of things were high in the War Within. Now it's so low that you wouldn't even craft for 20%. I mean, some stuff, yeah. We kind of foresaw things being cheaper because most end crafted goods require less materials, which inherently is going to mean that grand total for those items is going to be less. But then you've had things like enchants that have been like 10k plus all over the place. So it's kind of, it depends a little bit on the markets. But you're right, when you're dealing with margin based profits, of course those margins You'll take a 5% cut on a million gold. I'll take a 5% cut on a million gold sale much sooner than I'd take, 20% profit on crafting bolts for an hour. It's why, back in the days of Shadowlands, I know we've spoke about Shadowlands loads, but it was kind of quite a critical point in time. But back in Shadowlands, when you were doing 5 million gold of sales a day, you didn't mind making 10% margin on that. You didn't mind shifting stock around because 10% of 5 million every day was, you were still making a token and a half, 2 tokens every day. It was easy business. The problem is when you're trying to mass produce bolts, when you're mass producing linen bolts and they have a sell price of 20 gold a piece, all of a sudden your single digit margins don't really go anywhere. Evercore gear ruined the market pretty quick, in my opinion. 5 gold for 2 blue shards. Those of us who spent a lot of time testing the professions on the beta were nearly convinced that the single Evercore going into crafting a piece of gear was a placeholder value. And we almost expected that number to be increased by like 5 times, but they never changed it. And so the shuffle went through in its current form and has single-handedly nuked the enchanting market. And yeah, I wouldn't say the Evercore gear has ruined the market, but it definitely accelerated the pace of its, decline quite heavily. The fact that the shuffle was in place literally from day one as well. But clearly Blizzard didn't see eye to eye with the people giving them feedback in the beta. Not enough, at least anyway, to change it. Was making 500 to a mil a day. Now the market's on a downtrend. Need to spend more time. I think I'm just going to go farm lumber. You're in the situation, you're in the same position that many people get to about this point in the expansion, where your perception on value is so high because you've done well in the first month of the expansion that very quickly 50k an hour looks like fucking peasant work. This is you're not wrong having that mindset, by the way. I'm just using it as an example. That's kind of what causes a lot of people around this time to just, I'm done here now. Thank you very much. This is the point. They just, they ride out the rest of the expansion. They take their few million gold that they've made, and they just ride out the rest of the expansion with it, and they do the same thing again at the beginning of the next one. It's going to be funny because in like 2-3 months' time, you'll have people like, jumping on a 30,000 gold an hour farm like it's the best thing since sliced bread, because people's, anchoring of value, it will be much lower. The frustrating thing to see is that there are people that, when the season starts, for example, they drop goal making like it's hot, and they come back after they've fully geared their character, once they've got their 3000 Mythic Plus rating, and they come back and they're like, what happened to the market? Where's my 100,000 gold an hour? Where's all that gone? I'm like, well, you went and you grinded keys for 8 hours a day instead. The opportunity passed, my friend. And it's those players that then get really frustrated with themselves that they didn't spend more time making gold when the going was good. Bats have dropped heavy in the past few days. I mean, they will do. We've had a couple of weeks now where farming, even basic herbs and ore, farming basic herbs and ore has been a consistent 50k plus an hour, and we've had a good couple of weeks of that right now. Which means even people that were late to the party have had, a fair few days of being able to just basically print gold. All of that is now stacking up. As every day that passes, every week that passes, there are less people willing to spend as much as they were the week before on enchants, gems, gear, potions, consumables, you name it. Demand for everything across the board is in decline. I think we've probably hit the peak, and that crossover happens like really quick. Lotus price dropped 300 gold since last night. Now I started alt farming it. Yeah, but so did everybody else. Last week, just before Easter, I mean, there was double-digit numbers of videos telling everybody to make flipping mulch alts. Like, YouTube was absolutely flooded with that. Even people outside the gold making scene were making videos on flipping mulch farming alts. That you could get a lotus every hour for basically 10 minutes work. And so yeah, it's of no surprise 500,000 people set up herbalists last week. At the same time, as we mentioned, every week that passes, there is less of a demand for flasks. It's not rocket science, it's simple economics. Been out now for a long time. I thought multi-boxing was banned. A, it was never banned, and B, this isn't multi-boxing in the way you probably view it. These are just 5 separate clients, all doing something that looks quite similar, but I'm controlling each account individually. What was banned was the input broadcasting. You are not allowed to broadcast one action to multiple accounts anymore. Been leveling 2 characters a day through the Dark Moon Fair. What's the leveling situation these days? What are people doing? Like, I guess by the time you've got your 5, your 25% EXP boost, because you've got 5 characters to 90 already. What are we saying? That there's like, you getting a character level? Are you doing half an hour per level these days? Is that is that on the cards? It must be, right? Okay, that's glitched out. Time walking or level 1 dells. Okay. That makes sense. Quest to unlock the Murder Road dungeon. Pick up the Windspire dungeon quest. Fly over to Zulaman. Pick up the Cavern dungeon quest. Then dungeon grind up to 86. Then do the delves. Turn them all in and you're close to 90. Fair. Yeah, I could do leveling a couple more of my characters up. I've had the itch to play my paladin a little bit more properly, but the reason I haven't is simply because he's still like level 84. I just haven't leveled him up. And I kind of should. We got Drizzling Rose with a full account of level 90s. And I haven't even got my Warband 5 yet. I think Decor was a great addition to the game, opened up a brand new market. I think they need to add more like this to the economy. So the gold is more spread onto different markets. The reason why profit is so thin is because too many people are trying to milk the same cow. Same reason Decor is good, because it's a completely separate market from the rest. I mean, even back as far as Dragonflight, I was starting to spot that, like, crafting was getting very oversaturated to what was actually needed. And this is why I think there needs to be that something real simple, something real dumb, zero barrier to entry kind of market, which is what Decor's come along and provided, really. Or at least farming lumber has provided, which in turn leads to crafting Decor. Because unfortunately, herbalism and mining is, you know, it's a min-max game again. You know, herbing and mining is a min-max game, just like the professions. If you turn up 6 weeks into the expansion without a herbalist or miner setup, you are looking at making probably a third of the gold per hour compared to a character that's got their herbalist and miner set up and has been consistent with it. Now, I'm not saying that consistent effort shouldn't be rewarded, but what I am saying is that there needs to be something that people can just pick up and do reasonably well with, which is kind of what herbing and mining always used to be. If you didn't want to have to deal with any of the hustle or the bustle or, you know, do anything too consistently, you could always just go pick up some herbs and you'd make, you know, a standard amount. But the profession revamp pushed a lot more people into crafting, where normally they probably wouldn't have tried to deal with crafting. They would have probably been the kind of person that had just gone and picked up herbs for an hour or two a week and covered the cost of their repairs and a few potions. It's a twofold problem, though. I don't really put any of the blame on the crafting system for this. The issue is that they also, at the same time as introducing a new crafting system back in Dragonflight, they also put everybody in the same pool with the region-wide auction house. Those two things combined, like, completely changed the way the economy worked. Like, completely. And it also made it that the cream at the top, you had to be like, you were competing with everybody all of a sudden, which isn't a problem if you want to spend a lot of time and you want to put more time and effort into it than anybody else. But it becomes super difficult to make any to get anything out of it at all unless you're at least in the top 10% of players. It's kind of like, if you relate it to like arenas, for example. Now I know there's probably not many PvPers in the stream right now, but as an equivalent, it's an equivalent comparison. Imagine if only the top 10% of arena runs awarded gear and honor, and if the bottom 90% it actually cost you honor to even compete. That's kind of what the crafting system presents these days. It's not that you have people who are better at it and people who are not so good at it. You have people who win and they get all of the reward, e.g. the profit, and then you have everybody else that has to pay to even play. Which is why crafting feels really brutal to most people these days. And hence why they've had to hence why players naturally have quite heavily navigated to things like concentration alts, where 90% of people can always win. But just win small every time, you know? It's why mass crafting is just brutal. Unless you are genuinely one of the best in the entire region at it, and best presents itself in different ways. Best, he who gets his materials cheapest wins. He who has the best understanding of the systems in terms of exactly how multi-craft and resourcefulness and all of this sort of stuff works has a better chance. But it ultimately boils down to he who gets his materials cheapest wins. Which makes the game very hard. PvP, what's that? A lot of people are going to start feeling like they missed an opportunity when the prices are going to drop even more in a week. Panic selling all week to the people that stockpiled the past few weeks. I mean, it's kind of weird for me because I've seen the same thing happen 10 times over. None of this is of any surprise to me whatsoever. Playing the last 10 expansions, plus however many we've had now, I've seen it all before. You start to expect it. Now, I think the only miscalculation I did was I actually maybe didn't give the economy as much credit as I could have done, because I actually expected the crash to happen faster. But it's actually held out longer than I thought it would. I genuinely can't believe that we've gone like basically an entire calendar month with even simple herbing and mining being 50k plus an hour. That to me was quite a shock. Because you've basically been able to get a token's worth of gold every 3 to 4 hours for the past month. And you could have thrown as many hours at that as you wanted to. And I do actually think that Decor launching back in December has maybe had a bit of an effect on this. Plans Lionheart Helm. 30k seems cheap for that as well. I think there's a lot of people that made an awful lot of gold with Decor in the run-up to the midnight launch that maybe didn't feel anywhere near as strong a need to go out and do a whole bunch of farming, which left far more gold to be had by those people that went out and did it. Because I don't think we've had an expansion launch in recent history where you've been able to so easily make so much gold from herbing and mining for so long either. You often will find that there'll be a week or two where you can do some pretty silly things with it. And I wonder if it's because everybody expected to make millions in the first day of early access. In the 4 days of early access, people expected to come out of that with millions. Yet in early access, herbing and mining was like 20k an hour. And people were like, this is shit. Maybe they just all dropped it like it's hot back in early access. Thought it was a done game. Completely missed the fact that it's basically been 50k plus an hour for about a month, which is wild. Crashes after the Race to World first had finished. Happened past 2 expansions too. Yeah, I mean, it does, yeah, for sure. Right, we've nearly finished all of these now. Took a little bit longer to get going today because I had nearly 1,000 pieces of decor to redistribute, but now those have been spread out across the region. It should mean that we have a couple of nice mailboxes for a few weeks. And at the same time, we're up to nearly 4 million gold in the guild bank as well, which is nice to see. That means there's been about 3 million gold lying around on these characters from sales over the past week or so. Yo, my war bank might have more than 10 million gold in it again. Should I start dumping my moats, cut my losses? It's your call. I'm still holding on to all of mine. I got millions of the damn things. Moats were never going to go up in price until the price of high quality materials came down. That was the point. This is why I think a lot of people took my advice on moats without really understanding what the market was with moats. The reality is the consumption of moats is higher than the consumption of base materials. But there was for as long as there was still a shortage of the base materials, which there clearly was over the last few weeks because you've been able to make 50k plus an hour herbing and mining them. For whilst that shortage still existed, moats were just much of an afterthought because they've stacked up and up and up. But once the price of the base core materials starts to dip, and people then start looking at herbing and mining and like, oh, 20, 30,000 gold an hour, I'm not going to bother. The consumption of moats will still be higher than of that of the materials. That's when the price of moats will start to, you know, do their thing. It's why I'm in no panic to sell them whatsoever. The void ones and the what do you call them? The wild ones are both being very aggressively acquired right now. Zulaman is obviously the go-to place to do herbing and mining, which means the wild moats are very well supplied. And the void that's what's it called? Slayer's Rise at the top of the Void Storm is another very, very, very popular farming spot, which is keeping pretty high supply of those two moats. Maybe even more supply than is genuinely needed. But the other two, the light ones and the primal ones, are being consumed at just outrageous quantities right now. In that one. Whoa, loads of stuff didn't post on here. Where is this? This feels like Argent Dawn. Right, that should be near enough everything reposted. Nice. Nice. Now I might get to play the game for a little bit. Where did the other one go? Let's take the spoils out the guild bank and put it in the war bank where it can actually be used properly. I actually think the amount of gold that I spent on all of that decor yesterday is probably... Yeah, there's over 4 mil. Over 3 mil in the guild bank. Make use of our coffers. Put that back in there now. So for all intensive purposes, I kind of half feel that all that decor's been paid for. Nice. This lot needs to come out and go in the war bank. This stuff. We all need to go in. Oh, this is all stuff without a group. I know why that's there. That lot can stay there. Beautiful. Restock complete. Took a while. Took a while, but we're good. Wonder what that did to the overall gold count. I didn't keep my eyes on it. I think we should be about 3 mil up. We went 3 mil down, so 3 mil down yesterday, 3 mil up today. It's got to be a win in overall. Right. I don't think I even I don't even think I took anything out my vault yesterday. Hang on, I'm busting for a pee. Back in 2. Alrighty, you have a vault. Yes, yes. Now I think I didn't open it because I wanted to do my delves and stuff first. Which I didn't get anything particularly juicy from. I think yeah. I know I have unclaimed rewards. Oh, it won't show me my progress this week until I claim. Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. I need to decide what I want from this. It seems sensible. I still don't have my 4-piece set, which I was really hoping I'd get fixed this week, but apparently not. Hero replacement of my helm feels like the most sensible play. Chest piece or gloves? Do I have a good chest piece or gloves? I have a champion tier chest piece, and I have adventurer gloves. So the answer is no. There's hatch. Yeah, that would be a no. I'm just thinking about what I could throw in the catalyst at some point. That's a no. It seems really dumb to take those out of the vault just to get my 4-piece. I've already got this trinket. And a hero neck is an upgrade. So the necklace... Well, it's gonna be, I just take this, don't I? Let's not muck about. Higher tier piece of set. You'll take it. On you go. On you go. I did spy you doing some suspiciously normal gamer stuff. I know, it's crazy, right? I think I need to do a couple more delves or something. Yeah, I need to do a couple more delves.
We have slept long enough.
This world is vast and wondrous.
How many crests have we got to be upgrading all of this stuff? How many of these have I got? 192 Hero Dawn crests. Still slightly annoys me that for the majority of people you get better gear from delves than you do from the raids. But just at a way slower pace. That's where I think the balance lies. You know, if you're organized in a guild and, you know, you go smash the raid, you can get, you know, gear much faster. Yes, you can get hero gear from delves, but like 1 piece a week. At rank 9 of the Delver's Journey, you get to buy hero gear at the end from a vendor. I mean, rank 9 of the Delver's Journey. Is that even... Have they time-gated the journey, this expansion? I don't even know. I've not done anywhere near enough of it to get anywhere near any sort of weekly cap, but I know they got criticised pretty heavily for capping that last expansion. Oh, it's now uncapped? Or does that mean it was at some... Oh, okay. Interesting. I just need some better... I just need to better these. The fact I've still got adventure gear on is kind of pretty tragic, but... kind of what I don't know what to upgrade. I should probably upgrade this as far as I can get it, really. That said, I should also probably just craft the bow, shouldn't I? I don't even know. I don't care anywhere near enough about gearing my character this season. I'm just kind of doing a few bits and pieces, tinkering, pottering about. Not really knowing particularly what I'm doing. I've got crests up the wazoo by the looks of things.
Farewell.
Maybe I'll just go do my delves. Not worry about it. What's on the map today? Facility of Fear. Oh, I need that story variant. Oh, we'll go do Calamity Delve. Let's have a go at the Calamity Delve.
Silvermoon students have unique ways of studying the arcane. Perhaps
yes, go. They were saying Delver's Journey's uncapped now. Where do I sit with the Delver's Journey? I'm still only level 3. Gilded stashes now also grant myth crests. That's at 4. So we really need to get there, don't we? That's basically my only source for mythic crests, I think. What was saying that 9 was it 9? From champion to hero. Tier 11 bountiful coffers now have a chance to provide either a piece of hero equipment or untainted mana crystals used to purchase powerful equipment. Tiers 8, 9, and 10 bountiful coffers also reward smaller quantities of untainted mana crystals. I mean, that's gonna be wild for alt catch up, isn't it? That's gonna be really good for alt catch up. I would imagine on a main character, by the time you get to tier 9, you probably don't need much gear anymore, but... I don't think we're getting to tier 9 anytime soon.
The dark times will pass.
I'm not even sure I've got all my curios leveled up properly yet either. I don't even think I've done enough delves to get those properly leveled. Where is Valera? 27. The one I'm actually using, the hand grenade, is the one that's on the lowest level right now. Typical. I was using this one just because it makes gold. Slacker, my Valera's at 49. Yeah, big slacker. I can confirm. Why do I not just use the subjugation one? I don't stand still ever. That one. Right, let's go. Go, go, gadget, go. What are we doing in here? Twilight Blade revealed. Oh shit, okay. One of them.
Be quiet. Make haste.
I think I do. I mean, this is once again another one of those wildly uneducated opinions, but I think I prefer Valera instead of Bran. I think she seems to be more useful.
Be quiet.
I think the problem they had with Bran was that delves were new and they didn't really, you know, they hadn't balanced it very well.
Glory to the Sindor.
Speak no more.
Take a 5-member team into a level 1 delve, pick up all of the curios, and Valera will level up 75% of a level. Oh, really? Okay.
Speak no more.
That's quite funny.
I wouldn't cross me if I were you. I'll take care of them.
I love how people find these cheese mechanics for this sort of stuff.
Breathe deep.
I put way too much time and effort and focus in trying to flip in optimize and min-max goal making, which often means when I do actually do this like gameplay related stuff, I'm all out of stamina points for the cheese. I just kind of I use playing the game as a way to just kind of chill a little bit. There's enough areas of the game that I already grind at.
Now strike. Be quiet. Can't catch us.
There's part of me though, you know, I know we were talking about Expedition 33 earlier. There's part of me that is kind of half on the lookout for another game to sink my teeth in for a little while. During my mini Easter break, where I was not playing World of Warcraft particularly, I played a little game called Upload Labs, which for anybody out there that enjoys Factorio, Upload Labs, if you haven't already played it, it's free on Steam for starters, which is fucking crazy. Has Factorio vibes about it. It's kind of one of those incremental upgrade kind of games. I got more hours than I should have in that within a few days. That was very fun. But it has no real endpoint, much like Factorio, so be aware that your mileage may vary.
Speak no more.
My pet still gets absolutely fucking nuked in these delves, though. One thing I've really noticed this expansion, my pet is like... I wouldn't even say he's glass cannon. He's just glass. I know my pet probably contributes to 90% of my damage still, but like, flipping hell. He's all glass and no cannon. Why I've really not enjoyed BM Hunter as much this expansion. I was so very close to like just hard switching to my paladin or something. That or I should probably play Marks.
Breathe deep. They won't know what hit them. I don't think so.
The fact I'm getting out DPS'd by Valera by like quite some way as well is also slightly scary.
This is for you.
I mean, I know my gear is tragic level, but... Omni, how we doing? Welcome in. Good morning. I think it's even past morning for me now. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's nearly time for some food, actually, you know. Feeling the hunger kick in. Didn't have my shreddies. Hunger is not keeping... shreddies are not keeping the hunger locked up till lunch.
On you. Can't catch us. The pleasure.
And some sun. Well, I took the dogs out for a walk this morning and got myself a little bit of sun action, which was very nice. That wasn't until Nips started barking at all the neighbours and kind of put a taint on it, but that's what she does.
I'll take care of them.
Yeah, might be time for a bit of food soon. Maybe a bonus adventure out with the four-legged friends. Left hoof pets are the way to go. Do they have some
This is for you.
native damage reduction ability or something? Are they like the turtles? They get the shield.
Quick to counter.
My pets, to be fair, are there more for aesthetics than they are utility.
One moment.
I spent 500k on these flipping pigeons, getting my money out of them.
Breathe deep. They won't know it. Make haste. One moment.
Running out of people to question here by the looks of things. Go over this way. Let's avoid the elites. What are you saying, fellas?
Time to sleep. One moment. Be quiet.
I must admit, I did a few pray. You know, you have to do the 3 prays every week to get the. You do your 3 prays, you get the beacon. You probably just do a 4th pray because you're already there. You might as well. Then you take your beacon, go get your map, and so on and so on. I was doing the pray yesterday, and I must admit, a hunter's lack of heal was driving me absolutely bananas trying to do the prey. Doing nightmare preys where you consistently take a reasonable amount of damage was like infuriating. I can't lie. I nearly rage quit yesterday trying to do my nightmare preys. I was like, why am I not doing this on my paladin who can just go heal? Like, it's like, ah. The BM Hunter so heavily relies on his pet taking the damage. So the nightmare prays where you get slapped, not your pet, was... I even bought some flipping potions, would you believe? Me, of all people, bought some potions. Shocking behaviour.
Can't catch us. I don't think so.
Right, big dude slain. You?
This is for you.
Look, my pet's dying through mend pet. Like, he's just too squishy. Just too squishy. Probably shouldn't have pulled. Probably shouldn't have pulled the elite at the same time. Hang on, let's maybe get him out of the way first. Oh, my pet's dead again. Flipping out.
Too quick to counter.
Oh, now Valera's even dead. Not going to plan. Okay, that can't be stunned out of. Good to know. Alright, come on, get up, you. Pet steady, get fuck's sake. I'm having a mare here.
Let's keep moving. Breathe deep.
What's going on with these guys? Am I meant to... Oh. I should have been freeing all of these fellas. No, because you've now gone and got me killed. Thanks for that.
My eyes on you.
Well, that was a shit show, wasn't it? We got the job done, but that was about smooth as sandpaper, that was. Smooth as sandpaper. Veteran. Oh my god. I was looking at that as if to say, why the fuck do I want veteran boots? Then to realise they're actually an upgrade. Oh boy, am I undergeared. I was like, what do I want those stinky ones for? Oh my god, my gloves are an upgrade too. Sure. Say hello to bad luck protection, clearly. Lamppost? Do we genuinely get 3 upgrades? We actually got 3 upgrades from this one delve. That's actually slightly wild. Now we're starting to get epics come through. Nice. Scrappy, but, you know, get the job done. Yeah, I am still probably at the point where I probably should just have Valyria as healer. But the fact that she out DPSs me is kind of like,
Silvermoon students have unique
if I
ways
actually
of
play
studying the
properly, I
arcane.
don't die.
Perhaps you could learn a thing or two.
And the process is quicker having her as DPS. It's just, I need to, you know, not get distracted by squirrels. And, you know, get good. What we got down here? Loosed lower. Oh, we need that story as well. Well, in that case, we'll go do that one. Kind of liked these Twilight Crypts delves. I haven't done me dun-duns either. Flipping hell, I need to do me dun-duns. I got one more treasure to find. One more treasure to find. Should probably go do Darkmoon Fair. Some bonus easy knowledge. Another one of those. Lots of things I should probably be doing with the crafting professions, but I've just kind of found it more of a grind than it's worth. I refuse to do the dun-duns. I mean, I should really do it at least on my main, you know. The main character is where you should just, like, grit your teeth and just do it, you know. But alts, I've basically 100% just sacked it off on alts. Made one epic alchemy tool and that was it. I mean, I'll get this dude fully geared. Because like I said, it's the main character. I don't really have too much of an excuse not to do it on my main, but yeah, alts can take dun-duns on alts, I think, can take a long walk off a short pier. Did it on the Gatherer for the tools. I mean, I kind of don't even see as much value in doing it on the Gatherer. You get in maybe the time it takes you to get the shards and do the dun-dun runs. It's 20, what was it? 3 minutes a run. 8, 16, 24. So it's 24 minutes a week. That's half an hour where you're not farming. In that half an hour, currently, you could be making 25, 30,000 gold, easy business. So your doing the dun-duns on your gatherers is potentially costing you half an hour's worth of farm. I don't feel that it's actually enough to repay itself. Ta-da. Oh, that's it. In the... Oh. Treasure's down here. Yoink. Oh, well, there's me last dun I need, at least. I was hoping for the tanning oil. Dun is semi-AFK. Yeah, if you can get your first 1,000 points nice and fast, you can... I usually find if I am fortunate to land on a... I mean, playing on Draenor, big server, kind of got the advantage that most of the time when I do the dun runs, there's enough other people in there that I can get the first 1,000 points like within about a minute, and then I just AFK for 2. But it's still just like, it's just not fun. There's hints of a knowledge point reset possible in the future. Well, it was data mined in the next build. 1205. My perspective on it is the same as it was last time. That, you know, what's the point of giving people a reset when it's no longer that important? It's something that they really needed to have added for the beginning of the expansion, because, like, it's just, you know, there's no point. It's past. By the time they give people the ability to reset their knowledge points, you'll have already, you know, the opportunity's already gone. If you made a mistake in the first, you know, if you flew around and picked up all of your treasures, right? If you got a whole bunch, let's say you got 50 points, nice and quick, nice and easy, the one-time shit, right? You did that in early access or in the first week, and then you just spent them poorly, like really poorly. That's when you needed the ability to go, ah, shit, I fucked up. I need to reset my points, and sure, it's a one-time job. Thanks, Blizzard. Appreciate it. By the time we're... I mean, already now, it's kind of past the point where it's that useful to be able to reset your knowledge point. It's like, there's, you know... The most important time to have a knowledge point reset is at the very beginning, where it's the most easiest to make a mistake, and there's also the least knowledge points available. Full stop. It's kind of silly. They did the same in The War Within, and I don't understand why they bothered.
This is for you.
Either give it to people when they need it, or why bother? What they really should do is put quality on public orders. Sack off this knowledge point reset that's unnecessary by this point. Even tailors have got the knowledge points they need now. And they had the longest journey. Because their knowledge point trees are gross. But even tailors have got enough knowledge points to basically have points wherever they need them now. And everybody else has been able to fix any mistakes quite easily. To be honest, more than anything, what I've seen with the professions this expansion has been that they were very, very undercooked before the expansion went live. And dev's time was clearly redirected to other things. The priority of getting the professions fixed was very low. And is why a lot of hot fixes and changes have happened since the expansion went live. They've gone in and they've... I think the change to prospecting was probably... My opinion is it's a change that wasn't necessary. When they made the change to prospecting, we were already over the hill. The change to prospecting probably was only because Blizzard looked... You know, somebody at Blizzard looked at the price of ore and determined that ore is too expensive, clearly because prospectors are prospecting too much of it. And I don't really think that there was much of a problem with that in any way, shape, or form. In fact, I was already concerned with just how few gems it took to make a cut gem anyway. Them increasing the amount of gems was not what I expected to see them do, when I already thought that, you know, we went from the War Within, where you needed 6 raw gems to make a gem cut. We went to needing only 1 to make a gem cut. We also, at the same time, have now less gem sockets in gear than we did in the War Within. It seems a very uneducated decision to improve the rates of prospecting, when what was causing the high price of ore was that nobody was going out and farming it. Simple. And that the fact that there's no way to convert into high quality materials, meaning it was super duper mega easy to reset. No thaumaturgy, wasn't balancing out the materials. So it's just this stupid thing keeps hitting me. Increasing the rate of prospecting for gems seems odd. And I think long term only goes to accelerate the decline in the market, which, like I said, is odd. If I could do anything with the profession system, what would I do? I would put everything back on the auction house. Yeah. I don't dislike the work order system. I just don't like the fact that they've used it as a way to force people into using it, if that makes sense. There is nothing wrong with crafting things ahead of time and putting them on the auction house. In fact, the most convenient way for most people to get their items is from the auction house. The auction house is a quality of life feature at its core. You could level up that crafter, and you could farm the materials, and you could craft all of these items yourself. But the reason people don't is because that's very time consuming, and if you've already acquired a bunch of gold, it is more convenient. It is a greater quality of life to you to just be quite simply able to go to the auction house and buy stuff. The work order system has a good place, but I don't like the fact that you can't pre-craft and put things on the auction house. It has its place because it allows people to order something very specific. In those scenarios, I think the work order system is fantastic. It prevents a spam fiesta on the auction house. Look what we had with the... when was it? End of Shadowlands. Crafter's Mark gear. The auction house was getting spammy. It was getting, you know, messy with all of the different combinations and variations of all the crafted gear. It was getting messy. Hence, the work order system was useful to allow somebody to order something specific, customized. In that regard, very good. Likey. Then making everything bind on pickup and making things not be able to be put on the auction house was a bit I didn't like. So yeah, if I could change anything, I would give more flexibility to pre-craft things and put things on the auction house. Players can buy a base item and they can use their spark like they use an enchant, as far as I'm concerned. They can use their spark like they use an enchant. They apply it to a piece of gear and it adjusts it accordingly. Order system makes the game not pay to win. If you can buy the myth track crafted gear outright, the game will die. No, but like I said, you're missing the nuance there. You're missing the fact that that's not what you do. And I'd also like to point out there's such things as mythic BOEs.
Bounty from nature. Useful.
This is why the spark... I'm not saying get rid of the spark system. I'm saying that
One moment.
for basic item, for basic crafted gear, you should be able to make the basic item and put it on the auction house. Then somebody takes their spark and they apply it like they apply an enchant, and hey presto, it converts the item to whatever level of spark and crests that they use. Nobody's saying that you should be able to mass craft, you know, mythic quality gear and put that on the auction house.
This is for you.
That's not what anybody's suggesting.
Make haste.
Let's not forget you weren't even doing that in Shadowlands, by the way. You know, the base items in Shadowlands didn't do shit until you did the hard work to get the dust and then convert them into the legendary. Right then, let's get you nuked.
One moment.
See if we can one-shot this more effectively this time. Right, let's see if my pet can survive through men pet this time. Heck, let's just, you know, let's go to town. Understand the premise, but people would complain that Blizzard were trying to sell gold tokens. He said, I don't care what people would complain about. People complaining about something doesn't validate their argument. People can complain all they like. If their argument doesn't hold any grounds, then, you know. You ignore people that have arguments that, you know, don't have any foundation. Just noise. And I also, you know, don't get offended on behalf of other people. Don't champion against something because you think somebody else might take offense to it. That's real dumb. One-handed dagger. I am not using that on any character. Not one. We get here. Another champion trinket. I've got 2 hero trinkets already. I don't know if these are any good. Unseal the urn, causing the void within to pour out and engulf you for 20 seconds, increasing all secondaries by 164. As the void dissipates, you become horrified for 5 seconds. Killing an enemy whilst engulfed prevent... Yeah, that's never getting used. Okie dokie. Yeah, I like this crypt one. It's quite a fun delve, this. Going through the maze, figuring it out. Right. Has that sufficiently padded the vault? I think it has, hasn't it? Oh no. I need to do one more. One more. Have we got any other bountiful delves on the go? What else we got? One with a storyline I haven't done. Captured wildlife. Oh, I need that one. Oh, well, there we go. There's a convenient new piece of content to go poke around in. Like an add-on to show whether I've got the flag and the 3 empowered thingies. You mean like a weak aura? I am waiting for one of the top guilds to just release their equivalent of weak auras.
Catalog every newcomer. I want to know secrets.
I mean, they got to do it, haven't they, surely? It's the no spec in alchemy that increases conk gain on ingenuity procs. I don't think so for alchemy, no. Most, yeah, I think the most you can get is 50% refund, which basically means it's 100% pointless. You stack multicraft anyway with all alchemy. We need 2 procs in a row to make it useful. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ingenuity is completely useless this expansion. There is only one very, very, very small outlying scenario where ingenuity is useful at all. And that's if you've got a full build enchanter with full epic gear. That's the only time that ingenuity may have some value. Outside of that, it's basically pointless. You often can't get enough of it to cross the breakpoints, which basically means any points put into it is just a waste, really. What's ingenuity? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just don't spec for it. Having it isn't a problem. You just don't spec for it. You got to understand the difference between the two. You don't spend knowledge points in gaining more ingenuity. If you have some and it randomly procs, then great. But other than that, you definitely don't spend any knowledge points on trying to get any more of it. Not until you have absolutely nothing else to put points in. You'd be better off putting points into, you know, a secondary spec direction than you would putting them into ingenuity. Because most of the time, they're just going to go to waste via ingenuity. Right, what are we doing in here? Let the beasts loose. Release the beast.
Now strike.
Pet's dead again.
Too quick to counter. Can't catch us.
Do we think that they've made enough changes to delves to, like, keep them interesting for this expansion? Things like adding the flag. Not that, you know, it really amounts to doing much else.
I don't think so.
I was a little concerned with delves that the novelty would wear off real quick by the time we got into midnight. I think the novelty of prey is wearing off incredibly fast. At least for me personally.
One moment.
At least at least they swayed away, or maybe Prey sort of missold itself,
Time to sleep.
because I, for one, very much thought the Prey system was going to amass to be just to fill the bar, please go do some world quests, you know, gameplay loop. I'm glad Blizzard took the decision to make it so that you didn't really actually have to do any world quests whilst doing the Prey system. That, you know, you can just fly around and you go to the one world quest area, but you're basically just, you know, hitting traps, aren't you? I'm glad they went away from the please fill this bar by completing world quests approach.
Be quiet.
And I think I got pretty false impressions of what the Prey system really was going to be on the beta.
Make haste.
Whoa, 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 what's going on over here?
My eyes on you.
Labyrinth looks cool, the new Mega Delve they teased. Hop in and out of it, play at your own speed like a single player raid. If it does end up being like that, I think it would be quite cool. Yeah, I agree.
My lord.
The thought of the labyrinths is interesting. We'll see how they execute it. I think, yeah, a big Mega Delve that can only be completed once a week, and is, if they go, what I would like to see them do with the labyrinths is go Mage Tower style with it, where I would want it to be mini bosses that can only be killed once per week, much like a raid. But I would also like to see them not really be gear dependent. I would like to see them be quite mechanical.
To counter.
I think what we'll probably see is the labyrinths be like an extension of the Nemesis boss each season. I think combining some mini Nemesis bosses into like one big labyrinth. How they integrate it to the rest of the gameplay loop, I don't know, but it sounds interesting. Praise a system that's less thought out than the dynamic duos from The War Within. Oh god, don't mention the dynamic duos, flipping hell. You are right, though. I mean, there's value in simplicity, but yeah, you're right. I'd like to see Nightmare Delves only remove 25% on death. Being at 99% then dying sucks.
With my eyes on you.
Yeah, you mean on the Prey? Nightmare Preys, yeah, if you die, your entire progress goes back to 0. Yeah, that's caused me to nearly rage quit a couple of times. Here's our banner. Yoink. During combat, your spells and abilities have a chance to manifest a ward of light, granting you an absorb shield equal to 20% of your maximum health. Whoop.
Can't catch us.
Oh, my damn pigeon's dying again.
On you.
Literally can't keep this damn bird alive. I'll cut them some slack. They're holding aggro for me, but outside of that... Damn pigeons.
Breathe deep. I don't think so.
We're not getting distracted by squirrels. We're dying because of weak pigeons.
Time to sleep.
Oh, I didn't mean to pull the elite. I also kind of wonder if they're going to make these labyrinths kind of... If they do go the route of making them more mechanical, mage towery, it starts to make them more... You know, starts to make them more Souls-like, doesn't it? Whereas, you know, there isn't so much of a thing as just straight up overgearing them. I think there's a market for that kind of gameplay. Look at the amount of people who've been like screaming and shouting for years now to like bring the mage tower back in a more permanent form. I mean, the Nemesis boss kind of scratches that itch, I think, doesn't it? I think people want something a little bit more than a, you know, a one-time kill sort of thing. I imagine for Blizzard it's a flipping nightmare dealing with all of this because there's so many different players that play this game these days. Everybody kind of wants something different. It must be an absolute mindfuck trying to decide what to add to the game and what not. The rare down here. Which one of you is the rare? None of you look like a rare. Oh, he's over there.
Look at them. This is for
Wait, Slayer? What? What's going on here? Slayer of some Russian character on a Russian realm. Interesting. I've never seen a nameplate like that before.
Be quiet.
Wouldn't mind maze, puzzles, single player raid boss encounter type gameplay. I think there's a lot of call for it. I think with how... I mean, I would say generally, I'm not the biggest fan of delves, but I'd say generally overall they've been what Blizzard at least would consider a success. They've given the more solo player a path to success.
Can't catch us.
And even I appreciate that, even though I don't mind doing each of the different delves. You know, I hunt down the different delves that give me a story mode I haven't seen before. But I'm not a big fan of, like, doing the same one over and over and over and over and over. But Blizzard's probably looked at the success of delves in that regard, of that it's given the solo player more of a focus each week, rather than just, like, being a World Quest Andy. Which I'm sure is fine for some, but there's lots of people that play at awkward hours of the day or haven't found that guild or that clique to
I'll take care
enjoy the other aspects of the game with.
Time to sleep. Make haste.
Get nommed. Get nommed. Right, so oh no, there's 2 more of these. Right, you get nommed. Where's the last one? Oh, all the way over there. Totally went the wrong way.
Too quick to counter.
Let's grab these as well. We're going to need to kill them. Keep the pigeon alive.
This is for you.
Get nommed. Down he goes.
They won't be quiet. I'll take care of them.
This is one thing that I is why I always crank up my graphic settings when I'm actually playing the game. Because things like the mislaid curios, I like the little glow on them. Hard to see when you've got your graphic settings turned down. I know I can adjust it manually, but, you know, I always forget.
One moment.
Get nuked. Let's go.
Speak no more.
I don't like what you're doing. Yeah, you stay away.
Be quiet.
Pigeon, don't die on me. I wouldn't mind having to deal with these mechanics so much if these were 11s, but these are I'm only doing 8s.
Be quiet.
Fuck off. I'm out of ways to deal with you. Pigeon's dead again.
I don't think so. I'll be more
Oof.
helpful now.
Smooth again. Nobody tunes into my stream for a showcase of expertise anyway. Alright, what have we got? Sanctified spoils. Emesis box. What do we get there? Some boots or something? Leather boots. Send those over to one of the druids. Send that to the mage, I suppose. Some moss clogs. Take those. Cheeky champion upgrade to the boots. Still really struggling with the braces and the gloves. But we're starting to fix some of the other slots now. Probably use some of these sparks to fix that problem, I reckon. Braces are usually a good... Aren't braces usually a good option for crafting? Maybe not your first craft, but still reasonable, right? Right. Nice. Good work. World Tender boots and belt. A true bis. Oh, that's true. Only I had a leather worker. Oh yeah, I am one. Who has not spec'd into gear in any way, shape or form. But yeah, you're right. My style of content, I just craft wherever I've got a hole in my gear, really. Probably craft the weapon. Probably the smartest play. I just haven't got around to that sort of stuff yet. Not worried about it too much. Optimize gear when I've got gear that makes sense optimizing, really. But yeah, I do need to fix these adventurer tier bits of gear still. But boys and girls, I think I might leave it there for now. I think it's time for some food, you know. I think it's time for some food. Got me Great Vault sorted for next week. We're not going to get any better than that. That'll give me another hero piece of gear next week, which is about all I expect. Yeah, time to go get some food, I think. Boys and girls, thank you very much for stopping by. Appreciate it. A bit of a weird one today, spending so much time in the auction house, but of course that is what we do. We'll see over the next few days if we can get some of that decor stuff sold. If not, you know, we'll get some drip feed of sales from it over the coming months. It's all good. All good. Come say hi on the Discord if you're not already. You know, you can get your questions in. There's some very clever people in the Discord lurking, hanging out. Have yourselves a wonderful rest of the day. And tomorrow is Friday. Yeah, everything should be normal tomorrow. Normal stream tomorrow, I suspect. We'll see where we go. Might actually look at getting some of these alts a few more bonus levels. Who knows? Not sure. We'll keep it open. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for stopping by. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one. Peace.